This has got to be one of the most ridiculous looking things I have seen in a while. And this is the main reason we have not made a move one way or the other, a more extended move across the crypto market, is we're waiting for this confirmation. And what we're actually seeing throughout the space right now is a lot of growing impatience. And we're seeing a lot of people bounce around and try to figure out what's going to go on a run next. And what is great about Shiba Inu right now is that it is currently oversold. We're going to talk about all that and more in this video. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So yesterday was a red day across the crypto market, which was unfortunate. And of course, Shiba Inu participated in that red, actually down about 3.7% on yesterday's daily candle. We're printing a doji candle today. We're actually on the verge of flipping green. I don't know if that's going to be the way that things move from an overall standpoint. But if you guys haven't noticed, we're doing a very similar trend to what we did back here about a month ago. We had this nice spike, nice breakout, retest, and then we came back down, we settled in, and we were prepping to see if we were going to plant our foot in the ground and make our move to the upside or see some downside. And unfortunately, we got a little bit of that downside. We got some negative news that obviously pushed Shiba Inu price down. We retested our long-term trend, and we got a nice little bounce back. And the good news is that Shiba Inu has in fact shown us a big overall pivot. From an overall structure standpoint, that's a great sign. But understand that we're not out of the woods quite yet. And I'm not saying things are going to get horrible, we're going to drop or anything like that, right? We could see some short-term downside, especially if these trends are not holding. But the biggest thing that I want to point to, first of all, is that Shiba Inu, stochastic RSI, over the last 24 hours has entered the oversold range. That's a great sign because that is where Shib tends to flatten out and try to prep for a little bit of a rebound. Didn't get that back here, but you guys can see that, right? Back here, earlier part of March, oversold range, hard pivot, surge back to the upside. So that's where we're at currently, right? When we're looking at the 12-hour, we're oversold there. When we look at the 4-hour, we're still oversold there. So we're seeing a lot of signs that Shiba Inu is in fact oversold and just waiting for this bounce. But what I will say is the most ridiculous looking thing I've seen lately is the ETH BTC chart. I don't know if anybody's been watching this, but it's just doing nothing. All right. It is floating around this 20-day moving average. It hasn't really made a breakout very far above there as of late. And in fact, we've been sideways on ETH BTC for about a month now. And that is absolutely ridiculous. And this, guys, right here, I don't know how many times I have to circle this. This is why we have not made a move one way or the other in the crypto market. It's because altcoins rely on ETH to show a change of direction. We want that confirmation of our ETH bottom. And maybe this was it back here, right? But we're waiting for a direction one way or the other. Are we going to get a spike and it start to attack some of these higher ranges again? Or are we going to get our drop and finish going all the way home? That's the big question. All right. Now, I will say when we're looking at this Shib ETH chart, we have again broken out of structure. We're testing some of these lower levels. This is oversold as well. So we might start seeing very shortly here is a little bit of a bounce. On the weekly, we're still overbought. So, and that's not surprising. We tend to get overbought on these aggressive trends to the upside. Short term, though, oversold, oversold, oversold. So Shib is, in fact, oversold versus Ethereum. And what that has to do with is a lot of this growing impatience. Now, that being said, when we're looking at whales in terms of Shib, still very consistent. Buy. Lots of buying going on by whales. And what you're seeing is a lot of that short-term capitulation from retail, from smaller holders. All right. That's not surprising. People tend to get very bored. And what they're trying to do is bounce around the crypto space and try to find stuff that's going to get some gains. And, unfortunately, when we're looking at the last 24 hours here in terms of memes, it's not great. All right. We're seeing a lot of red. Even on the 7-day, most of these meme coins are red. And that's because we're still just in this kind of, we'll call it crap sentiment around the crypto market. We're still sitting, not even crap. We're in this neutral sentiment. We haven't made a move one way or the other. All right. Now, understand that when ETH does start making some of these more extended moves, that's when, again, Shiba Inu can start making more pronounced moves to the upside. And again, that has to do with obviously low liquidity. That has to do with excitement, yada, 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 like we've talked about many times before. Now, there still is major accumulation going on in terms of Ethereum. I don't know if I lost this. Yeah, there we go. I can't remember what I pulled up and what I don't. So we're seeing BlackRock start to really buy Ethereum heavily, which I think is a great sign. We're still seeing a lot of the major whales in the space accumulate ETH at insane rates. And there has to be a moment of inflection. There has to be a moment where the ETH chart really starts turning around and making more significant moves. That being said, it is showing a distinct trend. It's showing bottom right here around April 9th, and then we're slowly but surely working to the upside. This will probably accelerate over time. Now, again, there's no guarantees, and what we're again seeing right here in terms of Ethereum is actually that inverse head and shoulders, like we were talking about, meaning that ETH could be on the verge of a potential breakout to the upside. We could get excited once again, but that's what Shib is really waiting for right now. And what I'm hoping is that people have enough patience to see it through, because if we're fighting against selling at the same time, that's not a great thing. But that being said, if whales are accumulating and picking up what retail is dumping, that gives us actually more fuel for this next run. Hopefully that makes sense. And we've seen that many times before in terms of Shiba Inu. When we look at these charts, when Shib has these very significant breakouts to the upside and does these 60% runs, 100% runs, that's exactly what's happening. People grow impatient. They dump their bag. They're saying, oh, nothing's going to ever change. I'm giving a timeline to this, right? And then it leaves people behind. It happens time and time again. And, it's probably where we're headed towards. This is a time where a bunch of people get sidelined. They get left behind. They get stuck chasing. We see FOMO ensue, and away we go. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. What do you think comes next here? Which way is ETH versus BTC going to break? And when is this break going to frickin' happen? But have a great day. Show your love. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.